Firstly, thank you very much, Jennifer, for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I was thrilled to receive your invitation, and I'm really pleased to be here.
So I've gone through your profile, I've gone through your website, understood the work that you're doing. I thought to tell about you and the work that you're doing to my audience.
Oh, thank you. And thank you to everyone who's listening today. It's my pleasure to be here. And it's wonderful that we're able to talk to one another, given I'm in London and you're in your part of the world. So,
India.
yes, India. Yes, I have been to India 3 or 4 times now, and I love India. So I'm desperate to come back. So when the pandemic is over.
Nice. So before talking about you and your work, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
So my name is Jennifer Stirrup. You can call me Jen for short. We're all friends here, so you can call me Jen. I'm a best-selling Amazon author. I write about organizational change. I'm also an expert in artificial intelligence, business intelligence, and all things data. I've worked for companies large and small, and I've worked all over the world trying to help people to derive value from their data. So that's me. And I am Scottish, hence the accent, but I live just outside London now.
So you work on organizational change and you work on AI.
Yes. Now, you might be surprised to think, how does artificial intelligence impact the business? But often when we are building AI systems, it's not just a technical issue, it's for the business as well. When do the business leaders know how to trust artificial intelligence? And what does that mean for the staff who are working there? So there's all sorts of organizational changes when we implement a new technology or we implement a new strategy. So ideally, the technology should help the business and help the people that work there. So I wrote a book which was released just a few months ago, and it's called The Winning Mindset. And the idea is that by developing a winning mindset, it can help you as an individual and also help your business as well in order to do better and to be more successful with technology too.
So organizational change. So can you tell me about the work that you did before?
Yeah, so often what I find is with some businesses, you are faced with a business problem or a challenge. So let's say, for example, you are in a situation where your company is running 2 systems and the organization says, we have got too many systems. People are updating one system and then updating another. So we have to choose one. Okay, so that can be quite difficult because 50% of the people will say, I want one system, and the other 50% will say, I want the other system. So immediately you have like a battle, and then someone else, another business leader, might come along and she might say, both of those 2 systems are rubbish. We need a different system. So now we've got a third system in the mix. So all of that becomes very confusing for the business leaders and also for the team members as well. So what I do is I come in and I try to understand better what they have already in terms of the 2 systems. And then I'll look at how the third system might help them. Because the thing with having 3 systems is you don't want people updating 3 systems really, because that's going to be too confusing for people. So I first of all try and work out how they're using their current software, and whether it really is meeting their business needs or not. So costs will come into that. So cost of licensing, cost of the total cost of ownership, and then I try and work out what does the new technology give them. But I think the main thing to remember is not just about the technology, it's about how is it going to lift the business and how is it going to make it perform better. So that's really where I start to work out what's happening and where they should be and what is it they're trying to change. Now, often that can be part of a process change, because you might find that the reason the technology is not working well is because the business processes have changed, but the technology has not. And people find workarounds. So I'll give you an example. Let's say people can't access a database system properly. What they will start to do is they will start to take data out of the database, and then they will start to put it into Excel spreadsheets. And Excel has legs, right? It walks around the organization, and it's very easy to take the data. So sometimes what we do find is humans are so creative. They find workarounds, but sometimes the workarounds can become the process, and that's not great either. So I don't know if that helps any, but I'm trying to give you some real life examples where we can say this is the organisational change that we need to try and think about, because we have to think about what does it mean for the people when we talk about new technology. Because if you've got a lot of skills in a technology and then your business, your boss says, we're not going to use that technology anymore, we're going to bring in something else, that means your skills are no longer relevant, and that's not good. That makes people worried because they worry about their job. So I try and think about how we can help people to adopt the new technology and get new skills. That can be more difficult than you might think, because people still want to keep the old technology. Humans don't like change, and they don't like to be changed, which is funny given we're the apex predator on the planet, you know. So we're trying to bring people along in a journey that could be quite long.
So you're watching and you're understanding and you're observing the change that is happening from long time in different organizations. So what are the common things that didn't change till today?
So often I find that the best thing I can do is make recommendations in line with what the business vision is. I see with some organisations, they spend a long time thinking about the technology they're using. But if they did something like move to the cloud, they might find they spend more time actually trying to fulfill their business vision, and they can worry less about trying to work with lots of technology. Sometimes companies take a big side step when they are progressing because they get very sidetracked by the technology and not so much about focusing on the business vision. And sometimes that can happen for years as well, and that's not great either, you know. So excuse me drinking, I'm having a tea. But it's not as nice as the Chennai coffee. When I was in Chennai, I had amazing coffee. It was the best coffee in the world.
So when you're coming to India again to have coffee?
Yes, hopefully, once the pandemic is over. I worked in Chennai and in Bangalore, and I worked in Hyderabad.
I live in Hyderabad.
Oh, you do? All right,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that's brilliant. I loved it there. I went to the market and the food was amazing. But everybody in the company I was working for, they said, do you like spicy food? And I said, yes, I do. You know, we have lots of great food and lots of Indian food in the UK. And they said, this is here, the food is really spicy. And so they gave me a meal and it was wonderful, but it was really hot. They were all laughing at me eating it because I'm sweating, you know, because I'm Scottish and we don't have such exotic food. But it was amazing. I really love India. I really do. I think it's one place you visit once, and for me, you always want to go back because it's such a huge country, and there's so many different parts and so many different um, ways of looking, you know, at life. I really loved it. I really did. So if I come back to Hyderabad, I'm going to come and look you up
Yeah,
and nice Chennai coffee, even though Chennai is is far away.
actually you didn't. I don't know whether you drank the Hyderabadi tea.
I don't think I did. But next time I come back, I'm going to come back. I'm going to drink some of the Hyderabadi tea. I would really like that.
And
The
also you
only
have to eat Hyderabad biryani. It's
yes,
it's it's a famous and the important thing if you visit to Hyderabad. And tea you have to drink in Charminar. Charminar is the best place where you'll get the best tea.
oh nice, thank you. I'll remember that. I did have the biryani. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm vegetarian, so for me it was perfect to have so much vegetarian food. So yes, very happy.
Yeah, you'll get it. So I can see in your website your leadership. I mean, you do leadership in AI. So coming to AI is going to be the future. So you are understanding and you know you're leader in that. So how AI is going to create impact on human being?
I think artificial intelligence is going to make a real impact through automation and supporting productivity. So I think it will make people's lives easier and more convenient. So as we progress, I think you'll see more and more voice recognition and also better experiences for customers. So not just chatbots, but using things like WhatsApp and intelligent customer experience conversations. I think you'll also see better recognition of customer emotions as well. So I think AI will happen, it will make lots of different impact in a good way, but I think it will be in ways that we don't really notice. So we're not thinking about Terminator or iRobot, that kind of thing, where we see a more general intelligence. We're looking at AI being used for very specific, much more narrow purposes, and AI getting better at it. So let's say, for example, you could ask an artificial intelligent agent to order a birthday present for, say, a 10-year-old niece. And your 10-year-old niece, you think, I want to buy her a gift, but I don't know what to buy her. So you could go to a website, say to the agent, or type in a message, buy me a present for my 10-year-old niece, and send it to her. And the agent could choose a present for you, arrange it to be gift wrapped, like in Amazon, and then send that parcel in time for your relative's birthday, you know. And you wouldn't have to do anything. Oh, you may not even know what to buy for a 10-year-old girl. I don't know what to buy for a 10-year-old girl. So the agent can do all of these things for you and make your life easier. The only consequence I can see is an impact on people. I think that people will, with the service sector in particular, people's jobs will change, you know, because you will have to maybe change from serving customers to dealing more with complaints and things that are more complex. So artificial intelligence will help companies to do the easy things more easily, but there will always be space for the harder things as well. So dealing with complaints and resolving more complex issues.
So you are CEO and founder of Data Relish. So what is it about?
So we offer consulting services for artificial intelligence, business intelligence, and data science. We also do legal expert witness as well. So we go to court and we attend as an expert witness in cases like intellectual property, for example. So the thing is that people often have very easy access to technology. So you can go to the Amazon website or Microsoft and you can spin up a cloud service really quickly. And sometimes business leaders need help when they're thinking about designing a strategy or implementing it. And that's where I come in. I'm trying to, myself and the team, working to help customers who need support with thinking about artificial intelligence and what to do with their data. I think companies find it much easier to think about the technology than they do to think about the actual process and the data as well, because they're two separate things.
So I can also see in your website that you are one of the globally uh, recognized speakers.
Yes, and global data visionary. So I was
Yeah.
really pleased to get that honour. I like to think about how organisations use their data. I think about that quite a lot. I'm interested in things like the metaverse as well, and what companies are going to do as part of the next step when they think about new technologies like the metaverse. So for me, it's all very exciting times in technology. I'm very jealous of people just starting in their career, because I think that, you know, when I did things, we did them all the hard way, lots of coding and on computers that were not high specification. But now it's so much easier to do things than it was before. Eventually, we'll see artificial intelligence writing its own code. It does that now in some ways, but not very well. So I think we'll start to see more of that as time goes on.
And also you are one of the top data scientists who is followed
Yes.
in by many people on Twitter.
Yeah, I have done some work, for example, for the UK government. We were looking at homelessness, trying to predict and prevent homelessness. So I was trying to use my data science skills in order to try and work and understand better how we could help people. And that's really important, because we don't always want to use data science for just making money or saving money. We want to use it ideally to help people as well. And that's really important, I think.
And you're also top 50 women in technology worldwide.
That's right. I believe strongly in gender equality when we start to think about technology, not just in terms of its use, but also designing, delivering, implementing, and supporting these systems as well. So the thing is that whoever owns the technology of the future has a large proportion of the power in society. And I think it's important to try and make sure that there's a more equal balance when we start to look at technology in society. I think if, say, for example, coding is only done by 20-something males, then perhaps they have obviously got their own experience, but we need to also think about the experience of people from other backgrounds in order to build a better product or a better solution. There's also the matter of ethics as well. So if an organisation is behaving in a way that is not ethical, then it's better to find that out early in the process rather than later. So I think that's something that's important too.
So is it possible for a human being to create a lifeless machine and put emotions in it?
I don't think it's likely in my lifetime. I think that AI will go in a different direction. I think it will go in the direction of automation and increasing human productivity and removing risk from humans as well. So I think I'm very impressed by the work that I see, but I think the main applications tend to be around defence or something like that. But I would really like to see artificial intelligence being used to help people more. We know that our climate is at risk, it's climate change. People call it climate change because it sounds kinder. But it's more than that. The climate, they should call it climate crisis because it is in crisis and different parts of the world are impacted by that. And I think we could spend our resources as human beings to try and create more robots that think and talk as we do. But I think the world has got many more pressing problems that we need to address. Things like poverty and inequality. And the climate crisis is impacting people who are perhaps in poorer parts of the world, so they don't have the same chances and opportunities. So I think if we're only focusing on that, we're focusing on the wrong things. If you can put the human front and centre of artificial intelligence initiatives, then this will be the way forward in order to try and help children, help teenagers, younger people now, so that they have a better future.
So you're seeing the organizations with your eyes and listening to people who are working in organizations with your ears from long time. So what are those qualities that are making organizations to become worldwide and reach everywhere on this planet, and the products that they are creating, the service that they are providing? So what exactly that quality that makes or that is making top organizations in the world to reach everywhere?
I would say flexibility and adaptability. So when we saw the financial crisis in the year 2008, the companies that survived were the ones that had their data in a good shape and were already online. And I think with the pandemic, we see the same thing. The companies that were being more innovative with technology were the ones that did better during the pandemic, and the ones that had the data and good access to the data, and the data was clean, it was in a good shape, they were the ones that did better. So I think the opportunities of the future, sorry, it's been a long day. So I think the opportunities of the future are all about adaptability and flexibility, also having a good ethical compass as well. Companies that behave badly are going to see more trouble from their customers, I think. Companies are expected to do more now. They're expected to be more social and more caring towards customers and the planet. And I think more and more companies will be held accountable by customers to behave better. So the companies that will do better are the ones that understand that they have an obligation to the planet and to people to do better. So I know that sounds maybe a bit grand, but the thing is that customers expect more. They expect better behaviour than they did before. Because the thing is, when we sign up for a service, we sign terms and conditions, right? And they tend to be very long, and you scroll down to the bottom, you click accept. So because we're giving our data away to companies so freely, we expect that companies know us because we have given them our data. So with that in mind, companies are expected to behave better now perhaps than they might have done, and you see examples of companies getting called out because they have done something which or made an advert which is not very whole perhaps.
Is it possible for organizations to understand the mindsets of group of people in the world and create something that connects with everybody?
Um, I think to do that, I think it is possible, but I think they should focus on a big issue, things like climate change, and maybe things like property or building blocks. I saw an initiative this week where a young woman was recycling plastic bottles and using those in order to make bricks, and those bricks could then be used in order to build houses. And I really liked that initiative because everybody needs a home, right? And we have a problem to solve with all the plastic that we've put into the world. So what we can do is combine that requirement for housing with the requirement to clean up after ourselves. And those two things together can help us to really solve problems. So I think to be successful for the future, companies need to think more ethically and more mindfully about what it is they would like to achieve.
So you're seeing the leaders of the organizations, who is doing well, the women leaders or the men leaders?
I think that we expect to see more for big technology companies like Google and Facebook. I think we need to see them perhaps doing better, not just about transparency, because people talk about transparency, but transparency means different things to different people. So from an accounting perspective, people might see transparency, but sometimes people say, you're not being transparent. And what they actually mean is, I don't understand what you're saying, although I think I do. So I think organisations, to be successful, the leadership at the very top have to think more ethically, and they have to set a good example to other people in the organisation. So as an example, Bill Gates from Microsoft, there was issues there recently with some allegations, and the company is now having to work with that, and you can start to see people start to make excuses, don't they? But it seems that if the leaders don't behave well, they don't set a good tone for the rest of the organisation to behave better. And they're really setting a precedent right from the top. So to succeed, you need to work hard in the right direction, and that's all about asking yourself, who do you serve? Who is it you serve?
So you wrote 3 books. What is it about?
So I've written a couple of books about Tableau. I love Tableau. They are owned by Salesforce, and I wrote some technical books about Tableau. I wrote also about organisational change, and I wrote that with a number of other authors, and that was really great fun to do. So I'm writing another book at the moment about Microsoft Power BI. So we'll see if I can manage to get to finish it or not. I've had so many things on my plate at the moment. I enjoy writing books, but it's very, very hard work. And the actual money you get back is minuscule because everybody takes so much along the way. So it's certainly not something I'm going to retire on a desert island for.
So I can see you contribute a lot to the organizations in the form of women.
That's it. People forget that women are often the ones making purchasing decisions in the household, you know. So I think with that in mind, people have to build better products to serve women better. And to do that, they have to understand their own data better. That will really help support them to do that. I think that if society is going to be owned by the people who own technology businesses, then I think sometimes the more vulnerable groups of people might get left behind. And obviously, we don't want to do that.
So you have clients from 25 countries and 5 continents.
Yeah, so I've had customers from all over the world. So Europe, United Kingdom, obviously. I did some work in Africa, and I worked in India, and I have a customer based in Australia, the other side of the world from me. So yeah, I'm very, very blessed, and I think some of that has been luck as well. I think also it's important to recognise everybody who helped me along the way, either through teaching or providing good opportunities. So I think it's important to have gratitude every single day, because you don't know how long it's all going to last. So.
You did post-graduation in AI and also in cognitive science. So which are two different subjects.
That's right. But they're very related to one another. So cognitive science is a mix of psychology, linguistics, philosophy, and AI. So I found myself that it was good to take an interdisciplinary approach when I'm solving problems. So sometimes I need to look at it from the business point of view. Sometimes I need to look at it from a technical perspective. And sometimes I need to look at it from the developer perspective, the person delivering the software. So with all of these things together, I think I help companies because I can look at it through all of those different lenses, plus having the academic background as well, which has helped, obviously.
So like you said, because of the climate change, organizations in different countries work in different ways.
Yes, I think we need to listen better to the climate and understand better what that means for us in our locations. But I would also like to see more collaboration between organisations. So we had the COP conference in Glasgow, which was all about trying to find new agreements for climate change. That was fine, but then it annoyed me that some companies were flying people to a conference which was supposed to help the environment. So I felt that was a bit odd. Also a bit concerned because Microsoft, for example, were there, but Microsoft are pushing people to upgrade on laptops which are a specific specification, and I worry that people are not really got the opportunity to keep laptops for a long time and get the use out of them, because I think we have a crisis really over the environment and how we treat objects which are or once were electrical. But Microsoft went to the event and I thought, well, some of the landfill is because of the planning and because people are being required to do this upgrade, and they had more time than they gave themselves in order to let people know that was happening. So I think that was a bit of a shock, really. I think, again, it comes down to the ethics. People can't be too faced about it. If you say something, that's fine, but it has to be backed up by your actions. Your actions need to match and be consistent with what you are saying.
So while you giving inputs to for the development of the company, for the business aspect, so what do you see in a company, in an organization before? doing something?
I usually see lots of problems actually. So sometimes people can't put their data together very well, or they are taking a long time to do something. So there's that. They're not very productive. I think also they can have problems in the way they're using the data. So maybe they're doing something that's not quite ethical, but they haven't captured that yet. They also have to consider things like data privacy. So with data privacy, we're trying to make sure we respect the rights of the individual. So companies can do quite a lot with their data when they get started, but I tend to go in first and try to work out where they are. I call that a health check. So we're doing a health check on the data and the technology, and we're going to see how that works.
So what do you want to change with your organization or with your contribution to the tech world?
I think I'd like to see more people using the data better, and I'd like to see a better future for people using technology. I worry that people's jobs and things will be replaced by it. We start to see some of that happening, and I'm really keen to make sure that companies reskill their workers to meet the impact when it's coming. So I think that's something that we are going to see happening more prevalently, I think.
So how you know Elon Musk is saying creating Neuralink, which is different from AI. So how do you look at that?
Um, sorry, could you repeat the question? Sorry. I
Um,
was just looking in chat to see where the questions are coming up. I didn't see any questions.
yeah. So Elon Musk is created Neuralink. So what do you say about that?
Yeah, I think that I'm glad someone is looking at it. I think it's an interesting area, and I do worry that he gets involved in vanity projects. I'd like to see something that wasn't vanity and was more about helping other people. So, for example, the Amazon billionaire got divorced recently, and his ex wife has given billions away to companies and to charities that are trying to help women and girls. So I think how we spend our money says a lot about us. And I think Elon Musk is interesting, but is it necessary? What does it do in order to support and help the climate? I love it when people have big visions, but I love it more when more people are helping.
Google is creating AI, Microsoft is creating AI, everybody is into AI. So, what is as a person who is into AI, so what you understood about all these visionaries, these big organizations putting so much time in creating this?
So with Microsoft, they tend to come to the party a bit late. So sometimes I see companies who are stepping out in front of Microsoft and then they are catching up. I think Microsoft's value is in the data that they hold, actually. So they obviously have LinkedIn, they have GitHub, and when you've got the data, you can start to do things with that data. So we can start to perhaps train artificial intelligence algorithms to help write code based on the data set that GitHub gives them. So I think Microsoft's value will be is the glue, helping to hold other organizations together rather than perhaps doing it themselves. I know that Microsoft have just bought a natural language intelligence software. So we'll see how that goes. So I think they are trying to make up for their own deficiencies while trying to make sure that customer expectations are being met by using these types of technologies, particularly for things like speech recognition, which I think will start to become more prevalent and more important as time goes on.
So, what is the difference between the organizations which are in different countries?
I'd say data privacy regulations. So the way the data is processed can be very different depending on where you are in the world. And that's a big challenge for organizations to try and keep up with that. So I think that's one of the big challenges is the legal structure. I think also with Brexit as well, which I'm not happy about, it means you sometimes can have different hurdles in how you connect with companies that are in other countries. It seems that countries are becoming more insular, more isolated in terms of how they work with other companies in other countries. I like to see less isolation and less inwardness and more outward looking approaches to facilitating and using the technology, and particularly people joining hands in order to help meet changes in things like the climate and trying to work out better ways of using the technology to help people. I'd like to see more collaboration. So I think to answer your question, the main thing that distinguishes people organisations in different countries are the laws surrounding data privacy, and we need to be very respectful of those.
So at last, as a leader of as a person who is a leader of UI based AI and also a business intelligence. So what is your observation about my videos? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
Yeah, I love what you do. I love the fact that you're a great interviewer. You're really great. You ask great questions and really insightful questions. So I love the fact that you ask such insightful questions. And I think what attracted me to speak with you today is that I think I like the informalness of the session, and you've got a great breadth of knowledge, and that's really great. And I hope that you'll keep all of this going because I think you're doing a great job.
So I'll share your web links in the description of this video. People who find the video on YouTube can see the work that you are doing and the contribution that you are doing to this planet.
Oh, thank you. And thank you so much for having me today. It's been my pleasure to talk. I hope we can do this again. And hopefully if we come to India, I'll be able to come and say hello. You know, we can do this in person.
Yeah, in person we'll do that.
Yeah, so I hope that you and everybody, all your loved ones and your family, all stay healthy and happy during this pandemic. And I wish the same for all the listeners as well. I hope you all stay healthy, well, happy. And thank you so much for today.
Thank you, Jennifer, for giving me your valuable time and spending your valuable experience and giving answers to some of my questions.
Thank you. Thank you very
Can
much.
can I put this can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Yes, of course, absolutely. You have that.
And also,
Yes.
can I put this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, and internet, social media everywhere with your permission?
Yes, of course, you have that. Yes, you have my permission and my blessing, of course.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for everything. And keep doing what you're doing and keep inspiring people like this and the goals that you have. The more women should get into tech. And I hope your contribution and your inputs will create more wealth in UK as well as in all countries. And also your observation, your uh, creative knowledge, your intelligence will make AI also uh, um, advance and help needies and poor people in the world.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Thank you very much. I'll let you go and enjoy your evening and hope to speak to you again.
Yeah,
My best wishes.
you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.